Hey, shalom, shalom. Before we start this live lesson, I'd like to give all the praise, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh. Salakia. Before we start this live lesson, I'd like to give all the praise, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honor to the elder apostles and elder of the great millstone. Salutations to the hopeful elect. Title of the lesson is going to be Sincerity. Lord willing, is quick, edifying, straight to the point. Now, I want to go over the account of Yahweh Shah when he was speaking about the woman that was given the tidings. You got to use this name to get the precept. You know what I'm saying? But his true name is Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai, right? This is how you say it. This is how you pronounce it, right? When you're spelling it out. Yahweh Shai. See? That's the true name of the Heavenly Father. Yah means he. Yahweh Shai delivers, saves. So when you put Yahweh Shai, it means he saves, he delivers. Okay, for those that don't know, Lord willing, I could come back and make a lesson on his name. But I want to deal with the well. The woman given. That's Mark 12. The widow offering. That's the subtitle, the widow's offering. So we're going to go into Mark chapter 12 and verse 41. Right? Subtitle is the widow's mite. I believe this word mite means offering. Double check. Mite is a tiny, often microscopic anocyte in the order Arcania, closely related to ticks, which live in the verse, including soil, water, and on plants and animals. So it's something small or tiny, right? You know. If we were to look this up in the NLT real quick, it says, oh, it's no subtitle. Mite in the KJV. It says in the King James Version, a mite, because remember that's what the subtitle is, a widow's mite, is the smallest coin used in Palestine during Yahweh Shah's time, especially referring to a Jewish bronze or copper lepton. You know, it is used in the story of the widow's mite, Mark 12, 41 and 44, and Luke 21, 1 through 4, where a widow give 2 mites equaling to one far thing, or 1/64 of a denarius. So she pinched in 2 small coins, right? You know, 2 small coins. Okay, those are the precepts right there. Far thing. And I want to get into this account. Lord wants to edifying lesson. Let's get into the account. Farthing. You know. And the title and this lesson, like I said, is going to be about sincerity, because what this woman showed was true sincerity. She truly believed. Let me put do not disturb on. Like I was saying, she truly believed in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. That's why she did what she did. She truly wanted to serve and please Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. She was sincere, right? So Mark 12 and 41, it says, and Yahweh Shah sat over against the treasury, and behold, how the people cast money to the treasury, and many that were rich cast in much. And there came a certain poor widow, and she threw in 2 mites, right? Those 2 small coins, right? We went over what is a mite. in the KJV. Those are 2 small coins, right? It says, which make a farthing. So she wasn't able to give much, you know what I'm saying? She wasn't able to give much because she was poor, you see? So while you had people that was rich, that was casting a lot of money into the treasury, you had this woman on the opposite end, just giving the little that she had. You see what I'm saying? Verse 43. And it came, and he called unto him his disciples and said unto them, verily I say unto you, that this poor widow have cast more in than all they which have cast into the treasury. For all they that did cast in of their abundance, but she of her want did cast in all that she had, even all her living. So she gave everything that she had. And that's the point I want to make in this lesson. She gave everything that she had, man. The Lord, and I did a lesson months ago, but I'm bringing it back up for this lesson. The Lord cares about a sincere brother, not a deep brother. The Lord cares about sincerity, man. When we do this work, when we serve Yahweh Shema Shah, that's why he said this woman gave more than what they had. They all than all what the rich gave. Because they gave out of their abundance, but she gave out of sincere heart. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't just a habit. It wasn't just, oh, I'm just tithing. No, she genuinely believed in Yahweh Shema Shah. She genuinely, gave, right? She genuinely gave. She gave all that she had. And that's what the Lord is looking for. A person that's sincere, man. So the lesson that we could extrapolate or take from this is to be sincere in this thing, man. When you serving the Lord and doing his work, be sincere and give it all you got. Scripture say whatever you find your hands doing, do it with all your might. Because that's what she did. She gave all that she had. And the Lord honored that. Let's read verse 44 again. It says, for all they that did cast in of their abundance, but she of her want did cast in all that she had, even all her living. See? Stress the word want. She desired to do that. Right? Rather with the rich, they did it because it was their duty. She did it because it was her desire. Yeah, it was her duty, but it was her desire. It was her pleasure to do this. See, when you serve the Lord, do it with joy. When you serve the Lord, do it with pleasure, man. Don't look at this as a routine, as a mundane thing, because it's not. It's a beautiful thing. And she recognized that, man. And that's what the Lord looking for. Someone who genuinely wants to serve him, who genuinely wants to please him. Not a nigga that's dragging his feet. Not somebody who is just doing this because, just doing it to do it, but don't really care. He wants someone who really cares. Those are the individuals we looking for, true believers. See? First Peter. First Peter 1. If I can find this precept. Second Peter 1 and 2 Peter 1 and 10. It says, wherefore the rather, brethren, give diligence to make your calling and election sure. For if you do these things, ye shall never fail. See? So a brother, you can't go wrong with being diligent, right? And that's what the Lord is looking for. We got to be diligent, man. Not only consistent, but we got to be on fire for this thing, bro. We got to be on fire. The word diligence. Diligence. Diligence is the quality of, and I'm speaking 10 times more to myself, because like the scriptures say, you know, the Lord speaks through us to us, you know. Not the scriptures say, Salakia, the beloved Elder Barak Gabar said it, you know, the Lord speaks through us to us, you know. He said that in his lessons, you know, and that's true, because the Spirit, you know, we're just vessels, so the Spirit is going to use us to get the message out. And while we're bringing the message out and edifying others, we're also being edified by the same message. So 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 10, it says, wherefore the rather, brethren, give diligence to make your calling and election sure, for if you do these things, ye shall never fail. So like I said, you can't go wrong with being diligent. Look at the word diligence. Diligence. Diligence is the quality of constant, careful, and persistent effort applied to a task or duty. So we got to be consistent, we got to be careful, and we got to be persistent. So we got to be consistent in what we do and say. We got to be careful in what we do and say. And we got to be persistent in what we doing and saying, right? Continuing the things that we learn, right? You can't just do this thing your own way or just do it, you know, how you feel like it. Nah, you got to do it in order. That's why it's important to learn the order, to be in order. Because if you're out of order, then you're not going to be diligent, right? And it's not going to be done correctly. You know, and this is the Father's business. So this has to be done right. Revelation 13. Now Revelation 3. At 15. It says, I know thy works. So every man and woman is true. The Lord knows what you're doing, right? You just say that Proverbs 15 and 3, that the eyes of the Lord is beholding, you know what I'm saying? Everywhere. That's the angels, man. The eyes of the Lord are the angels. So the angels are watching you. The Lord is constantly, through the angels is reporting to the Lord on what you're doing. So you're being watched 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So what do you do behind closed doors is important, because, you know, they know all your works in the ministry and in your personal life. So you're not going to get one over on the Lord. It says, I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot. So see, the Lord knows the truth. He knows the individual's heart, where individual's mind is at. Because in front of brothers, you might seem like you on fire, but behind closed doors, you really lukewarm. See? You a super Israelite on camp day, but behind closed doors, you a nigga. You know what I'm saying? So point being is, you could fake it with man, but you can't fake it with the Lord. He sees you for what you really are. He could see what other brothers don't see. Right? Because he see you when you're by yourself. Right? When a man is alone or a person is alone, that's when they drop the act and they become their true self. You know what I'm saying? When they alone by themselves, that's when they really act like themselves. You know what I'm saying? You know? So yeah, the Lord. And let me clarify that point, right? I'm not saying brothers is putting on the act when we meet and talk with each other. God forbid. No. I'm making the point that when we are by ourselves, that's when we are the most comfortable, and that's when we express ourselves the most. You know what I'm saying? So the Lord sees that, you know. The Lord sees that. He sees what you're truly about and what you're truly doing when you're by yourself. Okay? Just to make the point. Just to clarify. The Lord sees what you're really doing when you're not around brothers. He sees who you really are and what you're really doing when you're not around brothers. That's the point I'm making. Verse 16, it says, so then, because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth, meaning spit, right? Spew is, he's talking about spit out of his mouth. It's not a literally, but it's spiritually, meaning he'll kick you, he'll kick you to the curb, kick you out the ministry, remove you from the faith, because the Lord doesn't want anyone lukewarm, right? That's why he said, I'd rather you cold or hot, right? See, I would thou wert cold or hot. You see? Lukewarm is on the fence. You know? You're not fully with the world, but you're not fully with the truth. See? You on the fence about it. The Lord don't want that. The Lord is looking for commitment. You're either going to be 100% for the truth or 100% for the world. Right? You either down with this or you're not. Right? It says lukewarm in the outline of biblical usage, metaphorically of a condition of the soul, wretchedly fluctuating between a torpor and a favor of love. Look at that word torpor. A torpor. Torpor. It says torpor is a state of decreased psychological activity in animals, usually characterized by reduced body temperature, metabolism, heart rate, used to survive cold or food shortages, right? So this is talking about physical, right? Physiological. So this is a physical effect. But spiritually, it's talking about a lack of interest. So torpor in the spirit means a lack of interest, right? A decrease in interest. You see what I'm saying? Conclusion of KJV. It says, in the context of the King James Version, KJV, Bible, torpor refers to a state of spiritual stupor, deep slumber, and insensitivity, and salakia, or insensibility, right? A lack of interest, you nonchalant. It says, it often describes a lack of spiritual alertness or hardening of the heart against Yahweh's Ba'ashim Awashah message. Okay? And the scriptures warn you not to harden your heart. You know what I'm saying? Lest you repeat the same mistakes that our forefathers did in the wilderness. That's why they didn't enter to the promised land, because they hardened their hearts against the Lord. You know, you don't want to harden your heart, right? Excuse me. So that's the hardening. So torpor, as you read it in the King James Version, King James KJV, it means to harden, right, your heart against the Lord. So you don't want to do that. So metaphorically, if we go into the blue letter, the outline of biblical usage, it says metaphorically of a condition of the soul, wretchedly fluctuating between a torpor, right, that's the hardening against the Lord's message, and a favor of love, meaning you on fire and you loved it and you love the Lord's message, man. See what I'm saying? So you right in the middle, right? A lukewarm person is right in the middle. You don't hate the message, but then you not on fire for it. You right in the middle. You know what I'm saying? You neutral. You nonchalant. The Lord don't want a neutral individual. You either gonna be on fire for this thing or not, man. So get on fire and stay fiery, right? But going back to the main point, you know, with the woman, right? She did this out of zeal for the Lord. She did because she wanted to. She didn't, you know what I'm saying? She did it because she wanted to. It wasn't just her duty, because she wanted to, you know. And you got, and it's the same message that's being pushed in this lesson. You gotta want to serve the Lord, man. Don't look at this thing as a mundane thing, like, oh, I gotta serve the Lord. You know, it's just my duty. Like it's a job. Nah. You should want to serve the Lord. You should desire this to bring out his message, to do his work. That should be your desire. Right? Last verse. Then we'll close the lesson. Ecclesiastes 9 and 10. Look, subtitle, whatever your hands find to do, right? Verse 10, it says, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with all thy might. For there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave whither thou goest. Right? So we all gonna return to the ground one day, right? So you can't take nothing with you, like it tells you in this, I think 1 Timothy 6 and 7. You know what I'm saying? You can't take nothing with you. Let me double check that. 1 Timothy 6 and 7. Yeah, 6 and 7. Yep, 6 and 7. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can. So like it, for we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. Right. So 1 Timothy 6 and 7. We ain't, we can't take nothing with us. So, you know what I'm saying? Do the work, right? And in a spiritual sense, right? Spiritually, well, not spiritually, so like here. Let me rephrase that. That's not the words I was looking for. But regarding this truth, right? Because we can't take nothing with us, as it says in 1 Timothy 6 and 7. And regarding this truth, you're here, you're breathing, you're alive, the Lord woke you up, right? So there's still hope. So do the work, right? Do the work the Lord gave you, right? While you here. Because you can't do the work when you in the grave. Tell you that in the Psalms that, there's no praise of the Lord in the grave, right? You can't do the work once you're gone. Once you transition, that's it. So while you here today, while you alive today, do the work, right? Do the work. Do what the Lord assigned you to do. Do what the Lord put on your spirit to do. Do the work, right? Whatsoever thy hand find to do it with all thy might. For there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave whether thou goest, right? Whether thou goest. So whatever your hands find to do it all your might, bro. Do it all your might. Just do the best you can. And that's what the Lord looking for, man. Your best. Not your 20%, not your 25%, not your 30%, not your 35%, not your no, the Lord wants your best, bro. Strive to give the Lord your best. Strive, right? That's why the Lord called for the first fruits, the best of our fields, the best of our produce, right? Even our first sons, which is a man's strength. The Lord wants the best. So we have an obligation and duty to give the Lord the best, right? So I conclude the lesson with that. Lord, when this was an edifying lesson, we give all honor, praise, and glory to our power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Wadash. Double honor to the elder apostles and the great millstone, and salutations to the hopeful elect. Keep pushing, keep believing. You brothers stay strong. Baba Ball, Shalom.